peace, power, and love sent from above, below, within, and all around the divine energy that's in our temple. Humam Abdulmalik once again with Blackanized International Nubian Consciousness. Conscious chest moves. Assalamu alaikum, brother Umar. This day is the beginning of a new day before the sunrise, with words of motivation, stimulation, and agitation, which we need in our community. What's going on in our community is a social ill and a social problem that we have to control, because it seems as though it's out of control. And we don't know where it's coming from. Is it homegrown within the community, or it's coming from outside of the community? We know one activity, we see our brothers on the street, and their activity seemingly, open air market or whatever. And then the shootings, killings that stems from that, or some other activity outside of that, with our agent provocateurs that make it seem as though our young adults is doing all this. But we really don't know. We can't put our hands on it, but we have to. But it's in our community. And not only that, this alarming rate of missing children, like every other day in our community. And it is like, it's insane, really. And the insanity is on us, really, because what are we doing about it? We live in a community next door to neighbors and all this, and we see what goes on in our community. If we're not walking around with our eyes wide shut, we need to be more observant, but it's kind of late after all these missing children. And some of them might be on their own volition. I'm talking about missing and not coming back and all that. And I'm talking about these prostitutional rings or sex rings or whatever. Is it the organized side of it, or is it like a self-induced side of it? A way or means of making money, or it being put up and manipulated to do these things? But they say a lot of them that's been missing coming back, or been whatever. But we're talking about those missing souls that haven't come back, haven't returned, that's been gone for years or whatever. But these most recent disappearances, they're out of control. Why is this happening in our community? We're not taking a good community effort to stop it. We have to stop it. We in the community must stop this, because it's where we live at. We, can't hide behind the doors no more and be a fear of our, wa alaikum salam, brother Umar. We can't be in fear no more of our young youth. We have to not deal on that level. We must go young youth, and we must be inclined to develop a understanding with our youth and come together in the essence of love. I'm talking about the elders and the youth got to come together. Everybody got to come together in our community and be protective of our community. And I want to say Ashe and Hotep to Sister Lisa up in New York, and Brother Umar, where they're at. And it's hurtful and it's shameful by us allowing this happen in our community. And that's it. That's the issues in our community that we're not dealing with, that is occurring every day or every other day. Because we be caught up in our daily activities or whatever, but that should be one of them. We should be part of the village. We should be observant in the village. We got to, because it's way out of hand. I know we're in our daily activities and all this and all that, and trying to sustain ourselves and maintain ourselves economically and financially and educationally, and being a parent and dealing with our children and all that. But we got to be more productive. We got to be more unified in the effort. We have to unify and organize in our communities. Not just on the Fridays going to Juma, or on the Sundays going to church, or Saturdays going to the synagogue or whatever. It's every day. It's every day in a unified effort to see how your neighbor doing, making sure everything's all right. How our children act. What's going on with our children. It got to stop. We're dying. Our children are dying. Some elders, some youth, and dying in our community. Then other aspect, they're getting kidnapped or lured into sexual rings, or thinking this is the thing to do to make money because of social narcotics and social engineering, what they see and what they hear in these videos and music, and then we got these pedophiles, and we got so much that's going against us as a people that don't want to see us rise up. I want to say salam alaikum to brother Shabazz, Salim Shabazz. Oh man, every day when you wake up and hear another story, this is mind-boggling. Sister come home from college on break. I don't know how serious it is, but she gets shot. For what reason? Don't know. Stray bullet? Don't know. Or intended target? Don't know. For what? Why is this happening in our community? Why do we seem so out of control in our community? Why do we deal with an animalistic, predatory nature in our community? Why do we have sexual predators in our community, or sex rings in our community? Why? And why do now all of a sudden it's been going on for years, and all of a sudden it's paramount in our community, with now everybody want to get involved, which is a good thing, but everybody should have been involved. We should have had more media coverage of this activity going in our community, more alerts from the MPD or whatever. And now it's just disheartening for us to, and now at this point, we got to step up. We should have been stepped up. We should have been more active in our community, taking on a more responsible role. We cannot just depend on the police. It's always after the fact, these things happening. We have to be observant before the fact and stop it before it happened. We should observe the changes or something in attitude or behavior or whatever of our children in our community. And that comes from knowing each other, establishing relationships with each other based on qualities of righteousness and holiness and brotherhood and sisterhood, and not always wanting something or trying to deal with somebody, in a relationship way on another level, but just being on a relationship way of a brother or a sister or a relative or whatever. And this is the essence of it. that we in the community got to stop what's happening in the community on both ends of this double-edged sword that is harming and affecting our community at alarming rates. Especially every other day, 2 or 3 children come up missing. If it's on their own, then it's a problem within the home, or dysfunctional home. But if somebody's luring them away from the home or taking them away, then that's another issue. And that's what we got to find out. And that the ones that return home, we got to find out, did they go on their own? Were they lured from home? And all this. So some of this might be exaggerated or whatever, but whatever it is, we need to get on top of it. We need to manifest what's going on in our community. For it to be publicized now, it's becoming erratic behavior. For what reason, I don't know. But this is what we need to find out as a people. Today they're supposed to be having a town hall meeting entitled, "Where Are They At Now?" Where they are at now, huh? Where have they been? How did they get to where they're at now? Where are we at now in this situation? And now it's like, it's one problem that we were dealing with. That's the violence in the community, the killing in the community. Now we're going to jump from that, parlay from that into this situation. It's a two-pronged situation that we got to deal with, and we got to manifest a way to handle this, to curtail it in our community. I know one thing is going on is by, I believe both of them, but one for sure is through social engineering and manipulation, through the system to get our young adults to act in a certain way, to be on the corner, to be selling drugs and this and that, and then through that, then the gunplay coming involved. I believe also that the other issue is part of a bigger issue also that has been going on for years, that if 800,000 missing children been missing for years or whatever, and nothing talked about on the media, nothing said about it on the media. And now that it becomes epidemic at home, then a little is said. If it wasn't for social media in our community with Brother Henderson and Sister Harris and TT and people like that, and it's social media to, make the people aware of what's going on in the community by dealing with what happened in their personal lives, never giving up and trying to find out what happened to their bloodline or their daughter or their son or whatever. The efforts of these people brought this to the limelight, or whatever it is, the status where we at now, to bring the people together to try to solve this issue, this problem. And again, I say that it's the community's problem. We can't depend on the police to solve our problem. They can come after the fact or whatever they do, investigation, undercover investigation or whatever, to go in the field or whatever to see what's happening. But we are right in the community, and it's happening right under our nose, right before our very eyes, and we can't see it. We don't realize the change in attitudes or whatever of the people around us, and especially our youth, when we live right next door to them. It's because we're not in tune with each other. We're not dealing with that divine energy that's in us, that the essence of love that's in us, to become unified in nature, to be unified in this village of ours. And only because it's right here, local, in this area, but it's happening not only here, it's in Baltimore, New York, it's all across the country. But it hits home right here. And this is Ward 8 I'm talking about. I'm talking about DC, but there's more happening right here in Southeast. And you know what they say about us in Southeast. I'll use their word, alternative fact, because they lie about our human development, our disposition. They say we are the worst in everything in Southeast, but I don't believe that. I don't let anybody validate me because I'm mentally free, spiritually free, but I'm not no better than anybody. So we all have to have that attitude, and no matter what people say about us, we can't just accept that because they give us a label. We cannot accept what they say about us. We cannot let them validate us. That's why we got to unify, organize, and develop an infrastructure in our communities. We got to stop what's going on in our communities, this negative energy or this negative behavior. If it's inside forces, we got to stop it. Outside forces, we protect ourselves against it. We have to reach our youth pertaining to these sex rings, if it's voluntarily, or we got to prevent these sex rings or this kidnapping or sexual predators or pedophiles or whatever it is. We got to cut it. We got to cut it at its root. We know it's a big organization, a big business and all that, because we know it's about body parts and all that. But we want to deal with what's local going on, and they say it's a sex ring. So we got to break that sex ring up, no matter who's involved. No matter who's involved, we got to break it up. Only way we can deal with that is we come together. And still, we can't forget our other problem in our community is our young brothers on the street corners with the guns and, with the shootings and all that. And just like I said, a sister's going to college, come home on spring break and get shot. I don't know the condition, but that happened. We got to stop that, because those people that's trying to become the next generation of leaders, we must protect them. I mean, it's a around the clock issue, and we got to be in position around the clock, sort of. But we live in this. We're in the community. It's not like a time shift, like the police got their job to do, but it's always after the fact. We're trying to have preventive measures, and how we get to that level of preventive measures, we change ourselves, we change our thinking, we change our attitude, we change our actions. And that's what we got to do. We got to work on ourselves as individuals in a collective mode. We got to be change agents in our community, in our life first. We got to change our attitude and thinking first and foremost, so that we can have a profound effect upon our community and the people in our community. And we got to do this as in the essence of being family, extended family members, in the essence of this a village that we're a part of, and the essence of we having respect for each other. We got to respect the elders, and the elders got to respect the youth, and the youth and the elders got to come together and think this thing out and think it through. The youth got to know that they're being manipulated by social engineering. We all got to know that we all in this paradigm together. And it's a systematic attack upon us. It ain't going to never stop, because they trying to implement their program of a new world order or whatever that they're trying to do. That's not going to stop. And it is in progress. They got their 20-year plan, 50-year plan, and whatever. And we in the most chaotic leadership that's ever been that I know of in this society, of this democratic society based on hypocrisy that we can see blatantly now. We can see the racism, we can see the lies and the deception, and then they cover it up with language of alternative facts, and they cover it up with lies on top of lies, and a sort of mindset of white nationalists that is being promoted. But we want to keep giving this situation a chance. I say, the heck with what they doing. Let's develop ourselves while they're going through their chaos and confusion, trying to bring order out of that, trying to do what they're doing. Or they're not trying, they're doing it, because every day they in action, they proactive. We must become proactive in our community. Our youth must change their thinking. They must realize what they mean to us. We got to make them realize what they mean to us. Our elders got to overcome the fear that is instilled in them by our youth. We got to meet everybody where they're at and bring us together in unity and harmony and peace for each other, in love, the essence of love that we divinely have for each other. We have to overcome our animalistic and predatory nature in this open laboratory that they have now, with the chemtrail coming out the air, the fluoride in the water, and the GMO in the foods that have a profound effect on it, and also the radio waves of what we're looking at on television and what we listen to in the music, and all this have an effect upon us as human beings, as the frequencies change and all that, and stimulate us to be in a certain way. But we got to stop it. We know what's going on. We know about the European. We can't keep pointing fingers at this system. We know the system is corrupt. We know the system is hypocritical. We know these things. So we must change our behavior. We got to change our behavior and become the people that we are divinely, and unify together and overcome the lies that's perpetrated against us, and don't let them validate our actions and our deeds in our community. We got to stand up for each other. We got to support each other. We got to protect each other. We got to do it. If we don't, we're going to keep suffering. The frequencies are raising for us to come together. We have to get into knowing ourselves and developing ourselves. Because if we don't do that, they're going to be manipulating us to act in a certain way. Because it's the carousel of life that we on, in the quagmire, deceptive maze that we be traveling on the treadwheel, the global treadwheel, if we don't step off and step into ourselves and be protectors of our communities and be protectors of each other in our communities. This village got to become strong. If we don't, we're going to keep being dragged along in a certain direction, being motivated and moved in a certain direction by stimuli. Because if you go this way, you're going to get a stimuli, some type of pain or whatever is going to drive you another way. It's all manipulation. We must stop it and understand and know what's going on, and come together as a people and stop this activity that's going on in our community. Let's build ourselves up for infrastructure and buy back our businesses in our store, and collaborate with each other and network with each other to develop the camaraderie that we need as black people. We need to develop a spiritual connection, a culture connection, an academic connection, and a financial connection. The only way that we're going to develop in this day and time. We have to do it. We have to take back our mind. Got to take back our spirit. Got to take back everything that was taken from us, in the sense that it was, even academically. There's nothing wrong with going to school and knowing and being intelligent and all that, but you also got to know who you are. We live in the now, but we got to understand our culture, our story, the real story, so that we can be in the now with being fortified as a people, unified. I'll say in African spirituality, as black people, don't get caught up or manipulated by the trickery of the money and all that, the programs and the grants and all that. Take us away from each other, then it's a tool being used against us. It must bring us together. So with that, I say, motivate somebody, stimulate somebody, agitate somebody, because we need it right now. We need to come together and protect each other, not only here in Ward 8, Washington, Baltimore, New York, all over this land. That's what we got to do. We got to do it in the essence of peace and love and uplifting each other and being serious about it, and stop letting people validate us, especially here in Ward 8. You know what they say about Ward 8, because we allow them to, we hear it and then we accept it. We can't do that because validation, they don't validate us. We are not what they say. We are better than what they say. We're more educated than what they say. We might not have the jobs and the money and this and that and all that, but that ain't nothing. We must learn how to be content. We must learn how to come together and help each other. All it is a form of their planning. We know how Georgetown was. We see it now. We see how 14th in between Columbia Road and Park Road used to be. We see it now. We look at 8th Street Corridor. We know how it was. We see it now. This is beginning to be the same way if we allow it. Where we going to go? We can't keep moving and being pushed and shoved out on the outskirts or wherever, you know. We got to take a stand. But we got to take a stand beginning with ourselves, development of ourselves, of our spirit, of our understanding of who we are as a people, divinely. And everything should be to bring us together in a unification, beginning with peace of yourself, love of yourself, then the extension of that to the community. I want to say shalom to Brother Oskidowski, Gas God, a great brother in the community, entrepreneur, original hip-hop or rap artist with a real true meaning that's about motivation, stimulation, and agitation of and guidance and waking people up. Shalom, my good brother. So with that I say, peace, power, and love. Let's do something. Let's do it together. Stand up for what we believe in. Stand up for unity, peace, and love. Come together in love, in that peace, in our community. Reach out to our youth. Reach out to our youth, our young adults, and let them know that they're being manipulated and used. And they got to come out that paradigm and take control of their mind and spirit. We must stop walking around with our eyes wide shut, selling our souls for the glitter and gold and the bling bling and those titles of being a thug and a baller and all that. Let's be people. Let's become the original people that we are in a divine way, in a refined way, the refinement of ourselves, and become the protectors of each other. Don't forget about this town hall meeting at Excel School. I think it's on 25th and Martin Luther King Avenue, 6 to 8. Where are they at now? where they're at now? Good topic, I guess. What are we going to do about where they're at now? How did they get to where they're at now? Because we're not doing our job, first and foremost, in the community. So motivate somebody, stimulate somebody, agitate somebody, tell somebody you love them today. In the essence of being who you are and who they need to be, in a divine way, in a unique way. We got the key to unlock the door of our own security, our own love in our community. Bring our community together and let it be the village that it must be. Let it be where it takes a village to raise a child. And stop letting our children being kidnapped or allowing them to make decisions to get into that environment. We got to find out the cause of this, and then we can know the effect that we can have upon it. We got to reach our young adults in the corner, on the corners, using them guns to make their money because they say they got to eat. What we going to do? The entrepreneurs and the government too. Y'all have a great day. Peace.